Hello and welcome to another Blender Cookie tutorial. I'm David Ward, and in this tutorial I'm going to just go over a basic modeling of a character in Blender 2.5 Alpha. And it being 2.5 Alpha, some of the features you see here may not be available in future versions of the release, or you may see some features in later releases that are not in this one. But we will make do with what we have here, and just kind of give you a general overview of some of the new functions of the user interface. For the most part, it's pretty much the same. It's just arranged a little differently. So, anyways, all that said, let's get started. I'm going to show you how to create a character doing the box model technique. And what I'm doing here is just the basic scene with the cube. Going to front view, hitting 1 on the numpad. Zoom in, just scrolling my mouse wheel. Okay, and let's go ahead and tab into edit mode. I'm going to hit W. I want to subdivide. Before, in previous versions, you could see there was an option for subdivide multi, where you could do multiple subdivisions. Now there's just the one subdivide, and it just does it once, but it gives you options over here, or at least it does until you click like I did on accident, so I'm going to undo. Control Z. Subdivide. There you go. And you can see it over here on the toolbar, and it shows you number of cuts, or you can do a fractal and the smoothness. I don't care about the fractal or smoothness right now. I'm just going to give it 3 cuts. So I got 1 in the middle and then 1 on the sides. I'm going to delete this half. I just hit B on my keyboard and then click and drag. Gives you the B, gives you crosshairs. Just click and drag to select. Now I hit delete to delete these vertices. And now I'm going to give it a modifier right here, the little crescent wrench looking thing there. Add a modifier. It's going to be a mirror, and I'm going to turn on clipping. Now hold down Shift and middle mouse button or scroll wheel, and you can kind of pan around the scene. Just a quick overview of the options. They're pretty much the same as they were in 2.49. Hold down Alt and left click on your mouse, and you can rotate around the scene. Hold down Shift and let's see, that doesn't do anything about it. Mouse wheel scrolls in and out. Shift middle mouse button moves around. Okay, yeah. Anyways, let's keep going with the model. Okay, this is going to be a little alien, kind of like you saw in my previous tutorial on facial rigging. So I'm going to kind of recreate that alien head and also give it a body. So let's get started there. I'm going to hit A to select all of my vertices here. S to scale on the Z-axis, which is the vertical axis. And if I want to scale on the horizontal axis, I would hit X, so scale S, X on the X-axis, and it just scales on that one. And also, if you want to scale on the Y-axis, S, Y, and it scales there. Okay. So now I'm going to start rounding off this, kind of giving it that basic lower head shape that you saw on the alien guy. Go to side view by hitting 3 on the numpad. Start rounding out those corners. Okay, and let's go to top view, hit 7 on your numpad. That's one neat kind of thing that they've done with 2.5 is before when you'd go into different views, it would just kind of pop to the view. It didn't have the transition that it has now. See, now it kind of rotates around, which I think is kind of neat. Anyways, when I first saw the interface for 2.5, I didn't really like it that much. But the more I play with it, the more I'm starting to like it. It seems like it's a little more organized this way. A little more mainstream, if you will. Might help people migrate from the other software, 3D software packages like 3D Studio Max and Maya, the 2 main ones. Right here I just hit G and just move my mouse. G is the move. And if you want to rotate it, you just hit R. Move it around. S scales, obviously. Okay. So just kind of giving it a basic shape. Going to extrude out the eye stalk. Scale it down a little bit more. Start rotating it around. And okay, scale it on the x-axis a little bit. I'm going to extrude one more, and hit E again to extrude, and then just scale it down, and then extrude back into it a couple of times. There we go. And we kind of got a periscope looking type of thing. And I know what you're thinking, it's all flat, it's not smooth. But that's easy to do. Over here on the left, to transform, it says shading. Just turn on smooth. There you go. Still kind of ugly, so let's add another modifier to it. Add modifier. Up. And go to subdivision surface. Go ahead and collapse the mirror modifier there. And it shows a subdivision of 1, and it's going to render a subdivision of 2. So if you want to see what the render will look like, just hit 2. See, it's quite a bit smoother, but we don't need it that smooth. For these purposes, this is just kind of a rough preview of what it's going to look like. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, let's grab this vertex right there. I'm going to hit Shift S, and it's going to bring up the snap menu. And what I want to do is I want to snap the cursor, that 3D cursor that you see right there. Shift S. Snap the cursor to the selected. So I want that cursor to be centered right there on that vertex. So there we go. Cursor to selection. And now, tab out of edit mode. And before, let's say I'm going to add a sphere, but before what you did in 2.49 and below, you'd hit spacebar. And, sorry, my email client is up. I'm going to close that out. If I can. It's not letting me. Okay. You'd hit spacebar, and it would bring up a list of things you could do. But now it's up here. You just go add mesh UV sphere. And it's really big, and it's got way too many vertices. So I'll do like I did with the subdivision, and just go over here in the tools and change the segments, the rings, and the size. So segments, I don't need 32. That's way too many. Let's bring it down to, I usually go with about 12. So we have 12 segments. Let's do the same thing for rings. 12 rings, and the size is too big. Let's bring that down. About 0.35. There we go. Now let's go into edit mode of the sphere and rotate it, R, on the x-axis, 90 degrees. So what I did is I hit R to rotate, X on the x-axis, 90 on my numpad. So it rotated it on the x-axis 90 degrees. So now it's kind of looking forward like it's an eyeball. There we go. Hit Z to go into wireframe mode. And let's grab that eyeball and bring him up so he's kind of peeking out of the eye socket there. Okay, let's go back in here. Grab the corners of the eye socket. And let's turn on this gizmo here, the 3D transform manipulator. Just click that and you can see the crosshairs after that. A little easier to move things, but you got to be careful. It's really sensitive. You can grab it on accident real easy. So let's just move those. Kind of make the edges of the eye socket flush with the eyeball as close as we can get. Let's go ahead and turn smoothing on this guy too. There we go. Okay, now as you can see, the sphere, the eyeball, is going to come through the top of the eye stalk, so we need to go in here and edit this. It's especially going to be bad when we make him blink later on in the animation segment. So let's add a ring to it, right there. Raise that up. Raise this one down, or lower this one down. And let's go ahead and add another ring right here. Okay. Now, I got the eye pretty much the way I want it. Let's go ahead and make the rest of the head look a little bit better. Grab these guys here. Make this a little bit bigger. I want it to resemble the alien that I built before, but not exact. I like to give it a little bit different shape. Okay, it's kind of looking kind of square there, isn't it? Let's go and round that out. Grab these corners. There we go. Make it kind of look like an elephant's trunk type of thing. Do the same thing on these guys. And you can sit there and play with it all day long until you get it the way you want. But for time's sake, I'll just go ahead and not put a whole lot of detail. See what I was saying about grabbing that 3D cursor by accident? Sometimes you accidentally grab it and move things where you don't want to move them. So you gotta be careful with that guy. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and give him a mouth. And I'm going to do that with these guys right here. I'm going to go ahead and extrude, scale it down some. Z-axis. I'm going to extrude one more time, start moving it inside. Gaping maw that his mouth will be. Okay. Ha! That's what I'm talking about. It's kind of frustrating sometimes. So a lot of times it's just good just to go ahead and turn that off so you don't grab it on accident. Okay. So let's work on his lips. Let's give him some lips here. Grab all of these guys, extrude them out. It's kind of looking like a claymation type of model. That's okay, but you could leave it like that if you wanted to. That's not what we're going for here. At least not what I'm going for. If you want to make a claymation type of model, you go right ahead. But I'm going to make one that's a little bit different. Lips are one of my favorite things to model, so you can make them look good. Makes it a lot better when you go to animating. If you got nice thick lips, nice and rubbery. Touch them almost. Seems like. Anyways. Apologize for my mumbling sometimes, but it's kind of my way of keeping the conversation going, as it were. So if I don't say anything at all, it gets really quiet. And then it gets really boring, and it might make you lose your focus. So sometimes I just kind of mumble to myself what I'm doing, what I'm working on. So. Okay, that's almost where we want it. Watch these keyboard shortcuts. Sometimes you hit the wrong buttons. You know what, real quick, this grid kind of distracts me sometimes, so I like to turn it off. And the way you do that, you just go to View, Properties, right there, or you can just hit N on your keyboard. It brings up the same thing. And you just go down here, just grab the scroll bar, and Display, turn off the grid floor. And I don't want the green or red lines either, so X-axis and Y-axis. There we go. And now just hit N again to get rid of it. Okay. So the lips are looking okay. Not quite where I want yet. The camera was in my way. When I make lips, it's kind of, the way I think of it is like they're flat on the edges, and the closer you get to the middle, the more they kind of fold down, if that makes sense. So they're kind of flat, and then they kind of bend, fold underneath. So, anyways, okay. One thing to help make the lips look nice is to pop into sculpt mode, and we'll get the grab tool. Let's go ahead and make that brush a little bigger. There we go. Just kind of grab the edges of the mouth. Just move them in. It's getting that nice cartoony looking mouth there. There we go. And while we've got it, let's go ahead and just push and pull around the rest of the model. And this being in mirror mode, or with the mirror modifier, I'm only editing 1/2 of it, and as you can see, it's automatically updating the other side at the same time. So when we finish, we will just apply that modifier, and we will have one complete model that's, then it'll have 2 separate sides where you can change it if you need to. Okay, so there's the head. Not too shabby. So let's go ahead and pop back to object mode, and let's go ahead and work on the body. Okay, so let's go ahead and tab into edit mode, and let's grab where his neck is going to be. Let's grab those 4 guys right there. And let's go ahead and scale them on the x-axis a little bit. Bring them in. And go ahead and start extruding them down. It's a little too big, isn't it? Have to fix that up after we get everything situated. Round this neck part out before I go any further. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to keep going with that a little bit after we get everything else ready. Okay, just keep extruding down. I'm going to go into the shoulder area now. Make it a little bigger. Let's go ahead and just start extruding down, get the torso out of the way. And we'll say one more. There we go. Kind of a bland looking torso, but we will remedy that. Side view, it's going. Needs to be rotated around, doesn't it? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and grab this, scale it on the y-axis. It's going to be his little belly area. Shoulder, so I'll just go ahead and lift that up some. Okay, let's go ahead and bring these guys in so it starts rounding. Oops, good one. Starts rounding it in a little better. And let's grab these. Okay, that's not what I want at all, but we'll keep going and we will get it momentarily. Okay. One way to give it more options on the roundedness, just go ahead and grab all those guys along the side and go ahead and extrude it once. Scale it down some. So now we have a whole nother loop that we can play with. Here, scale that. I grabbed that whole loop by just holding down Alt and right-clicking on one of the lines. And anywhere that there's a full loop, it'll select the whole thing, as you can see there. So just grab that new loop that we made, and I made it bigger. So anyways, now I'm going to work on the back a little bit. Okay, let's go to side view Just gonna zoom in a little bit. Let's get this neck where it's like part of the body rather than just sticking up out of it. Makes the neck a little. Altus makes things skinnier or fatter, basically. Just hold on, hit Alt S and go up. It makes it skinnier. Down makes it fatter. So there we go. I think I need to add a ring right there, a loop right there. Just make his chin a little more prominent. A little more narrow too. Let's do that. Let's grab this face here and just move it down and out. I'm going to grab that sculpt mode again. Grab the smooth tools. Smooth up that neck a little bit. Kind of weird up in here. Okay. And as my 9th grade introduction to keyboarding, that's the computer keyboarding, by the way, not musical keyboard. Introduction to keyboarding, always said, save often. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Go ahead and name him Cycloptic Alien. I worked on this a little bit beforehand, so I already have a file name. Cycloptic Alien, and this one neat thing about Blender 2.5 is the file browser system is a lot cleaner. It only shows blend files. When you're saving as a blend file or opening a blend file, it only shows the blend files. Before, it showed everything in the folder, and it kind of just highlighted, the blend files. But now, the only thing it shows is blend files, so that's nice. Okay, so go ahead and save as, and go ahead and save over that one. Okay, now, let's continue onward. This torso is a little too long for me. Turn on my gizmo again. So used to using the gizmo with 2.49, it's kind of hard to stop using it. Maybe that's just a little bug that they'll fix later on. We'll see. Okay. Let's go ahead and work on the arms. We'll mess with the torso as we need to. Once we get the rest of the body parts in, it'll be a little easier to see what proportions and everything we need. Okay, so just grab those guys. Go into front view. Extrude out, rotate it around a little bit, scale it, extrude out some more. And a lot of people, when they model, they put the arms and fingers and everything just straight out to the side, which that's fine. That's their style. But what I like to do is kind of put the model in a generic pose person. I don't know if you call it a pose, but kind of a starting relaxed pose. Kind of what they would stand at, like, if, I don't know, just a pose that's not stiff, straight out. Anyways, the reason I say that is because when you go to animate them, or you put their arms down to their sides, like in a rest position, it looks more natural. If they're stocked straight out to the side and you put them down, then you might have some weird deformations or something like that, which, can be fixed with shape keys and things of that nature. But for me, I just find it easier to start off in a kind of a generic pose. So, anyways, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so we got the shoulders basically done. Let's go ahead and extrude out the rest of the arms. We'll go back up in here and fix this up a little bit later. Kind of looks like a macaroni noodle or something sticking out there. We don't like that. Okay, so this is going to be the elbow area. Give it a couple extra ones. Straight down, top of the forearm, straight down, and the wrist. Okay, so now let's get in, start making the shoulder look a little bit nicer. Grab all these guys, just move them up. Grab this, the armpit area. Grab that loop, scale it down. So there we go. I like to give him a nice cartoonish proportions, where his forearms are way bigger than his upper arms. Kind of a, not quite a Popeye type of shape, but almost. Just gives it more of a cartoonish look to me. Okay, so like I said, kind of a basic relaxed pose. So his arms are going to be slightly bent down, slightly at his sides. Inside of the elbow. Let's give his elbow bone. Oops. Definition there. There we go. And a little too far forward the arms are. So let's grab all of the arm. Those loops. Everything. I got that one right there. Okay. Oops. You know what I'm saying about grabbing that thing. Okay. Just rotate them. Back some. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now let's give him a hand. No clapping. I guess it's going to be the wrist. Let's grab all those, scale them on the z-axis a little bit, so it's a little more flat than round. Actually, the basic pose of an arm, you know, the way the bones are laid out, actually the palms would be facing you. So let's do it that way. Scale it where the flat part's facing you. So that way, you know, the thing with aliens is you can usually get away with a lot of crazy looking anatomy, but if you think about it, if they're kind of designed the same way as a human, and they kind of move the same way, then they're probably going to have the same type of muscular and skeletal structure that humans have. For example, you know, I mean, our muscular build and structure is not what makes us human. I mean, it's what makes us move. Like, for example, you bend your arm, your bicep makes your arm bend. So if an alien has an arm that bends, he probably has a bicep as well, or something that is an equivalent of that. So therefore, his wrist is going to rotate, so he probably has the radius and ulna in his forearm. So all that said, I'm going to design it to look similar to how a person, a real or human, would be designed. Okay, so the palms are going to be facing you when he's standing straight up. Let's go ahead and do the rest of the hands here. Okay, that's going to be the basic hand. We'll go in there and give it some more detail later. Let's go ahead and just give him a finger. Don't give him the finger, give him a finger. And we will clone that finger, or duplicate it. Clone is a term I learned from my 3D Studio Max days. Blender calls it duplicate. So, they both do the same thing. Create a copy of something. Okay, so let's round the finger out a little bit. Let's grab that. Straighten this up a little bit. It's kind of hoppy-jawed, if you will. If that's a word. Okay, that's close enough. We'll fix it. Okay, it's kind of good side view. Let's go ahead and scale that on the x-axis 0 times so it's completely flat. And we'll just rotate it around to fit where we're at here. Okay. Let's go ahead and extrude it out a few times. It's going to be where the first knuckle is, so I'll give it a few extra loops there. Extrude out. And then the first joint is going to be right here. The actually only joint, I'm just going to give him, one joint in the middle of his finger. I'm not going to go crazy and make him real detailed. It's just a cartoon alien. And then the tip is going to be smaller. Okay, so let's grab our vertices here. Give them a nice crease where that joint is. A little knuckle stick up there. And let's go ahead and give this knuckle some shape as well. Okay, and like I'm doing with the arm, I'm going to go ahead and give this finger a slight bend to it. So I don't want it to be stock straight. So that wouldn't be very natural. Nice, relaxed, limp pose. Give this finger a little bit more of a pointy shape at the end there. Okay, wow, that's really narrow, isn't it? Let's thicken that up some, what do you say? Grab these. How's that look? Yeah. Let's make this joint a little. No good axis to rotate it on. So we're all crazy angled here. Okay, that's gonna be fine. Probably spend some more time detailing it, but time is not something we have a lot of here in these tutorials. Just the facts, man. Okay, so we got the basic finger done. I want to make another finger, but I don't want to have to go through and do all this detail again. So I'm just going to grab this finger, and I guess I'll grab all these guys as well. And I'm just going to Shift D, duplicate it over, scale it down a little bit, rotate it a little bit, and grab these guys right here, rotate them to be the proper angle, and delete the faces there. Now grab all these. Control L grabs the linked faces that I just of the one that I just grabbed. So you can, if it's separate. Now, if I was here and I just wanted to grab those fingers and I hit Control L, it grabbed the whole model. But since this is a separate piece, it's not connected to anything, Control L just grabs it. So, got some handy information there. Scale it up, test. Okay, now let's start sewing it together. When I do that, grab those two vertices, Alt-M, and merge them at the center. Do the same thing here, Alt-M, center. Oops. Don't want to grab it, just want to rotate around. Alt-M. Alt-M. The little pop-up you see is, after you click, it says removed one vertices. I guess it's for if you merge a lot of them. It says plural. Removed one vertex is what I should say. But it tells you it merged two into one, so therefore it had to get rid of one. So that's what it says. It deleted one vertex. Okay, so now the rest of the hand. I'm going to need a thumb, so let's go ahead and copy these guys again. Rotate them around a little bit. Scale it down. It's going to be the hand. And just kind of rotate it around. If you hit R twice, you can kind of just rotate it in no certain angle. If you just hit it once, it rotates kind of around the view that you're looking at it. And you might be able to use that sometimes, but for this instance, I want it to rotate around how I want it to rotate instead of just around that one different angle. Anyways, so now I need to get rid of these faces. Right? Or is it just 2? I guess it's just 2. I don't need 4. So let's undo those 2. There we go. Just delete those faces. And let's grab this, Control L, and let's move it backwards a little bit. There we go. And out some. And let's start sewing it on there. This guy, center. This guy, and this guy. You know what? I don't want to merge it at the center because that's going to make it real tight in there. So what I'm going to do, move this out a little bit. This guy, move this guy. And I'm just going to create some new faces. So grab that, and hit F. And it makes a new face on those 4 vertices. Now you can do it with 3 vertices, but that makes a triangle. And from what I gather, triangles are bad. Okay. Almost there. Undo. Love the undo. I wish I had it in real life. Make things so much easier. Okay, so we got the thumb on there, but now we need to get it to look correct. Angled kind of weird, stringingly. Let's go ahead and add a loop right here. Give us some extra room to play with. How's that looking? Not too bad. I need to work on this some more. Let's go ahead and grab this guy, I guess. Nice meaty part of the thumb. Plays a lot of video games. If you notice that with our generation of video game players, our thumb muscles are a lot more defined than they might have used to be because we work them out so much pushing those buttons on the gamepad and the cell phones these days too, where you're texting. Thumb muscles are a lot stronger than they used to be back in the olden times, I would imagine. I wasn't around in the olden times, so I honestly couldn't say. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just extrude this out. There we go. Let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. Give him some extra padding on the palm of his hand. And probably right there. There we go. Yeah, let's smooth that up a little bit. And we'll be good to go. That thumb's looking a little weird. I know it's an alien hand, but it's kind of bugging me. Back to edit mode. Let's bring the tip of it down some. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, kind of. Get the vertices select. Vertex select. That's better. Let's give him some knuckles, big old knuckles on the top of his hands here. Let's grab these guys. And what the heck, that one scale it. There we go. And go ahead and smooth those up too with the sculpt tool. Smooth. Okay. That's looking good. The hand itself's kind of bugging me now, though, so let's go ahead and make this a little bigger. What happened here? Nothing. Okay, let's see what it's going to look like when it's extra smooth. Some weirdness going right there. Smooth that up. Let's grab it. Grab. What's it look like in there? Yeah, that's getting kind of ugly. Let's just put the manual away. Rotate this, the whole thumb down around a little bit. I'm going to use an option that I'm not real well versed on, but I know how to use it easily enough. It's called the proportional fall off. You can control it. Once you turn it on, you just click on one of the vertices here, and you can see a ring if you rotate your mouse wheel. And that's the fall off. So when you move, it's proportional fall off, and it makes surrounding vertices move with it. See? So rather, if you have it turned off, it moves just the ones you have selected. If you have it turned on, it's a little bit smoother that way. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the rotate manipulator instead of the move manipulator. Rotate this around. Oops. Gotta watch it when you got that thing on. Sometimes you grab it. Okay. Now, maybe if I grab all of these guys and rotate them a little bit to the side. Let's turn that off for now. It's going to grab on the edge of that forefinger that I don't want it to. That's better. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. Ready to give you a big old hug, looks like. Okay, now let's work on the legs. Let's grab these guys, round it out. And obviously I'm selecting more. I guess it's a little late in the game to tell you this, but I'm selecting multiple ones by just holding Shift when I click on them. So that's kind of... Hopefully you knew that already, but if not, that's how I'm doing it. Shift selects multiple. Go ahead and turn off that gizmo. It's kind of getting in the way right now. Start extruding down. Come up to the knee area. So there we go. Top of the calf and shin, and down to the ankle. Scale that down. Okay. would make this these thighs a little skinnier, kind of like the upper arm versus the forearm. The shins will be more muscular than the thighs. Yep, some more definition up around this bikini line, crotch area. Okay, start working on that posterior. Like I said, if they move like we do, they probably have the same muscle structure. And so you'll probably have a gluteus maximus. Extra ring there. So if he doesn't have a gluteus maximus, he won't be able to lift his leg. That's what it does. This tightens up and swings the leg backwards. That's the purpose of your butt. Well, your butt muscles anyways. But I'm sure you already knew that. Working on the legs and worked my way back up into the torso again, didn't I? Oh, well. We're getting there. Let's go ahead and do the feet real quick. Just get them out of the way. Just grab those guys, extrude down some. Grab the side, move it out. And I want to give him 2 toes. So it's going to be kind of like his hands, except, you know, his hand kind of has basically 3 fingers, 2 fingers and a thumb. His feet are only going to have 2. I guess kind of like the old Ninja Turtle design where they had 3 fingers but only 2 toes. Kind of thought that was weird as a child growing up. But now I'm duplicating it. Crazy. Okay. One more and then we'll start branching off. Okay. So the same thing, but a little joint at the beginning. Scale it down. Except I'm not going to give his toes full joints like on his fingers, because they're short and stubby versus the big long fingers. So I'm just going to give his toes the one joint right there. Those toes are really angled outwards. That's not good. Okay. Well, let's say okay. I'm still tweaking it here. Okay, now, grab the whole toe, just do exactly like we did with the fingers, Shift D, but now what I'm going to do, instead of try to rotate it around to fit the angle of the other one properly, I'll just scale it, S, on the X-axis, -1 times. I'll still have to rotate it, but now it's kind of just like a mirror image of the one I created it from. So delete that face. Go ahead and sew them together. Guess I need to create faces. There we go. You might be noticing something. I'll explain it shortly. The black line that just appeared. No sweat. Easily fixed. Yeah, I got too many selected. And there we go. Now, look, what is that black line? What that is the normals. What normals are they're what it's a mathematical thing that tells the surface of your 3D model which direction to point. Like, typically they point outwards, so you see a nice gray shade, but sometimes they point inwards on accident, and you get that black line. So the way to fix that, just in the edit mode, hit A on your keyboard, selects everything, select all, A, and just hit Control-N, and it recalculates the normals and gets rid of that. So there you go. Easy to fix. Okay, these feet are looking crazy weird, so let's go ahead and fix those up. Make these bigger. Make these smaller. Got cankles going on. We don't want that. Scale that down. Okay, that's looking big. Scale that back out. Like that. Okay, they're getting there. These toes might be a little too thick and stubby to match the fingers. Select them all. R twice, rotate them around. About even. Yeah. Let's make them a little bit longer. What do you say? Make this joint a little smaller. There we go. A lot of gap between the toes, which I guess is not a horrible thing. Okay, almost there. Let's go ahead and thin up the back of the foot here some. Scale it on the x-axis. Rotate it a little bit on the z-axis. And there we go. But they're kind of small for his body, so I'm just going to select the whole foot. Front view, let's rotate it so the toes are lying flat. Scale it way up. Well, maybe not way up, but quite a bit. Make it a little flatter. Make that ankle a little smaller. And let's bring the whole foot apparatus up here. It wasn't bad though. I kind of liked the bent look that it gave it, so let's go ahead and apply something like that to it. Oops. Okay, we're getting there. I want to give it a little bit more of a general relaxed pose, so I'm going to grab the whole leg. What did I do? I knew I did something weird. Okay, I think what I did was I maximized the window, so an easy way to fix that is usually you gotta hit Control, and then your up arrow, and that maximizes it. I think Control down arrow, yeah, I should fix it. So Control up maxes, Control down does restores. I think I hit spacebar, Control Shift. I don't know what I hit, but yeah, that's how you fix it. So let's get rid of those. I don't want those. Alt select. There we go. rotate the whole leg on the x-axis. Let's move it out. Okay, those thighs are still a little too thick for me, so let's scale them down. And let's bring them in some too. Where his thighs meet his body. Grab the right one there. Okay. A weird right about here, I think. Squared off in here. Okay, that's looking okay. His feet are bigger, so let's make his hands bigger too. Oh, save often. Mr. Crawford always told us. That was the teacher I was telling you about. Oh, Mr. Crawford. Good guy. Let's bring this wrist up, give it a little bit of definition here. Oops. Bring it up some. Okay, everything's looking good, except I'm not real happy with the torso yet, so I will continue to play with it a little bit. So I think it might be a little too long, so let's grab the whole lower body and move it up some. That looks a little better. Yeah. Okay, save. I want to give him a little bit of a chest. Some chest definition here. So I'm going to grab these guys, and what the heck, these guys too. I'm going to turn off the clipping of the mirror modifier for now, so I can have a separation when I go extrude that. Scale it down. Now I'm going to turn it back on. Okay. Go ahead and start defining those pec muscles, pectoralis major. Almost there. Let's turn on the sculpt mode. That'll be a little easier to be able to push and pull. His little butt looks a little more defined than I expected, but hey, he's been working out. Okay. A little bit. Okay. I think we have us a little alien dude. So go ahead and save it. And we'll call the modeling section done. So I guess we will go ahead and apply that modifier, the mirror modifier. So now we're going to edit. Everything is on its own. So, okay. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two. And stay tuned because I will be going a little further with this character. We'll be rigging him and adding more detail, maybe a texture or two, maybe some animation. So stay tuned, and I will catch you next time.